Shavua told, man, hope everybody had a good Shabbat. Well, let me tackle this topic that I discovered, man. That Kanye tweeted something about me as if I'm turning my back on the community, as if I'm advising Kyrie to apologize for being a Hebrew Israelite. I would never ask Kyrie to apologize for being an Israelite. You kidding me? I dedicated about 20 plus years of my life on researching and learning who we are as a people. You understand me? And why would I advise my brother to say, hey, apologize for saying you were Hebrew? Only thing he had apologized for is the little portion that's inside the video that's hurtful to the Jewish people. And as an Israelite, it's our job to be a holy nation, so we understand that. So come on, man, don't try this here. You already know me. Y'all know me. Y'all seen what I've been learning over the years. Y'all follow my path. I would never advise someone to apologize for being an Israelite. Kanye, you should know this, man. You know me. Holla at me, man. Peace.
So Amare Stoudemire is hurt. He's embarrassed. And this is a time that the Lord is showing we're going to have to stick with our own. You know? You're going to have to stick with your own. You're being forced to. Thus bringing us back together as a people, which is oddly, for those that don't believe or still skeptical, right? It's oddly being done through the talks about us being the actual people of the Bible, the Hebrew Israelites, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, all right? The true Jews, the true chosen people, all right? Yasha Allah, you know, to say it correctly in the Hebrew, the children of Israel. But anyway, all of this is being shown that we need to stick together and gonna have to stick. Not saying that that's gonna happen on this side, but the elect is gonna understand that. The elect of our people is gonna understand this, because the Lord is showing through these continued, it's the domino effect now. All right, of the constant talk of us being a Hebrew Israelites. He's showing through this. He's showing that we have to stick. We're gonna have to stick together through this. And once again, oddly, because we're actually are the Hebrew Israelites. So we're gonna see more of us come back together off the talks of us being the Hebrew Israelites, because we actually to come back together as a nation. But it's through the talks of us being the Hebrew Israelites. Why? Because we actually are the Hebrew Israelites. That's what's happening, you know. But this man, Amare Stoudemire, he's embarrassed. All right. And, you know, he showed himself to be a hypocrite. And he's double-minded, and he's unstable. Right? And he bowed the knee to these people. And we got proof to show that. So this is how he's a hypocrite, because he sat here on this show. I'm not going to play the interview, but those that can go watch it, this image of him, this thumbnail of him sitting right here was the interview in which he said basically he didn't stand up for anything. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie needs to apologize, and he hasn't done really, he's not really doing his research. You know what I'm saying? So this is where you can see that at. Now, he was asked on the show, was he Jewish? And he didn't say nothing. We already talked about this. And it's already been put out there. You can find it. We actually sit down and did, for those that may be new to this channel, you know, we pretty much pulled the footage, the clip of him saying that he's a Hebrew Israelite. The same things he's saying now, meaning he understands there's a difference between being so-called Jewish and a Hebrew Israelite. But when he was asked, or he had put upon him that he's Jewish during the Kyrie segment, in which they were pretty much talking about him and the whole anti-Semitic thing that's been put on him. That was said about, that label was put on Amare Stoudemire during that. The woman told him he's Jewish and blah, blah, blah. It was basically leading Amare to condemn his own and ultimately get him to actually denounce what the truth and who he knows on broad TV in front of all his people, and ultimately bow the knee to these people. And that's exactly what he did, because he didn't correct her, and he said Kyrie isn't doing his research. Now here he comes, hurt because Kanye West has called him out, and you are double-minded, and you are embarrassed, and you are proof that this is exactly what the Lord is showing us, that we're going to have to stick with our own. He's going to force every Hebrew Israelite, awakened or unawakened, to know that, because these people are against us. These people are our enemies, starting with our chief enemy from birth, Esau, Edom. These Amalekites, and chiefly the top tribe of Esau, the Edomite race, which is these Amalekites, the top so-called white people, which are who? These so-called Jewish people. All right? That's how we know. White people, so-called, they're the Edomites, but there's a top tribe of the Edomites, which is Amalekites. So yeah, top. So the white people, so-called, they are enemies and over us, but the top so-called white people that's over us and actually run our everything are the Jewish people. So that's them Amalekites, man. But anyway, yeah, this dude double-minded, and he showed our people not to stand up, and now he's embarrassed, and now this has caused him to jump back to being a completely different person than how he presented himself on ESPN, which is one of our own. And now he's coming back to us because he's embarrassed. He's embarrassed. Now, if he go back on ESPN and repent for what he did, that's a whole nother thing. We just going on this. You know what I'm saying? And this is to be exhortation for you Israelites out there that are being tested. Your faith is being tested. Your integrity is being put on the high seat as well. And you are not to bow the knee to these people. And you're being forced to realize you got to come back to your own. Because when the cameras go off and the fake shit go off, and the can we all just get along go off, all of us got to look in the mirror, starting with these celebrities, and the only people they got to come back to, their relatives, the ones they could truly relate to. And they know that. They sit and act like we relate with these people. We don't, and that's what happened with him. He know them people not with him, but he bowed the knee to them and gave our people a poor example of a backbone, of knowing the truth, But anyway, let's show something. So it's a complete difference, It's a complete difference. But before I show this, right? See, that's why you gotta be in this truth the real way. This dude he's in, man. You're a Hebrew Israelite, so what is this? Judah don't dress like this. He dressed like one of these Ashkenazi people. The fake Jews. It's all political. But yet he actually know the truth. He know the men on the streets and the community that he's actually talking about isn't this crap. So what's up with this? But anyway, I'm going to kick it off with this. Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together, O nation, not desired. So there it is. So we see we can only relate with each other. The people that can relate, are the fellow Hebrew Israelites. able to relate with each other because we actually are relatives, but no one else, everyone's against us. Everybody keeping it phony with us. Everybody wants us to stay down. They don't want us to come up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want us to just keep cooning. They won't give us a fair shake. You know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to have one. You know? We don't have a continuing city here. Who's the we? The nation not desired. You know, and specifics broken down to the individuals of the nation not desired. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which are the Hebrew Israelites. Right? And the Lord's commanding us to do this, right? But first and foremost, in doctrine. So let's kick it off with this. This is Baruch. Let's go here. This is 2 Maccabees 7:2. It says, but one of them spake first, what wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die. We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. See that? And why is that? Because the laws of our fathers, which is what? This book, right? This is our heritage, right? The scriptures, we're the Hebrew Israelites. We rather die than to go against it, right? Because it's worse than what anybody else could threaten us with or be granted by the Heavenly Father to be able to do unto us. We rather obey God than man. All right. This is Baruch 4:1. So this is the book of the commandments of God, the Father, our Father, Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. See that? So I want to read that from the top again. This is the book of the commandments of our Father, Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. So-called white man law gonna be here today, gone tomorrow. They make amendments and all this other crap. The Lord won't do that. But such as leave it shall die. See that? But such as leave it. So all they that keep it shall come to life. So yeah, well, you try to follow the so-called white man's laws and how he do things and order things so you can come to life, keep your life, become prosperous and all this other stuff. But that's not how it actually works. Following the Heavenly Father's law, as far as what's expedient, because all things are lawful but not expedient. So for instance, it's certain things that's other law that are righteous acts that can't be done on this side because we're in captivity, such as stoning people for certain acts. You know what I'm saying? Putting mugs to death for dealing with your woman or something like that, or these goddamn so-called homosexuals, all these witches. You can't do those things on this side, right? But they endure us forever. These are always to be the things to be done. And the time coming to where the Lord's law is going to come back. He's going to make sure of that, right? But we just got to wait on that. But anyway, so you got other laws so that's an example of all things. Though all things are lawful, all things are expedient for those that don't, may be new. So it's right, but it ain't the most convenient thing to do. So we do the things that are, you know what I'm saying? Such as the dietary law. That's not going to hurt you, to not eat pork, to not eat shrimp, seafood, bottom feeders, whatever you want to call them, water bugs, water roaches, that type stuff, So plenty of laws that you can follow that are convenient, to where you can say you keeping the righteous acts, not marring your beard, If you're a woman, not wearing pants, wearing dresses. If you're a man, not wearing dresses, wearing pants, so forth, A few things, other things. But anyway, so That's an example of that. But so it say, all that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So doing what the Heavenly Father tells us to do is how we're going to come to life. You know what I'm saying? Literally claiming who we are, doing what he says to do, and being who we are. Of course, we're in a dead state. We're not being who we are. So once we start coming, now we starting to say who we are. Now everything that comes with who we are, which are also to be things we are to be doing, right, are pretty much gonna be the ways we come back to life. You know what I'm saying? We'll be back above all people. People will have to acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? We'll have all things, etc. We'll be put back to our righteous position because we waking up. So now the Lord can come back because the time has been created for us to be saved. Because now that we saying who we are, look what everybody doing. You know what I'm saying? You being demonized for it. So we clearly need saving. So now it's not the time to get weak and turn. Now it's the time to confess and stand stiff-neckedly for the Lord. All right. But anyway, so we can, and that's what we supposed to do. So once again, all that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. All right. Now, there's many ways you can die, right? For instance, the Lord can kill you. The scriptures tell you, fear not them which kill the body, right? But cannot kill the soul, but rather fear him which could kill both body and soul. Matter of fact, I'm going to grab that. Matthew 10 and verse 27, I'll start at. It says, yeah, Khan, you know what? Let's start at, I'm gonna just keep it to the point, verse 28. It says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. So the Lord is many ways. I just get that to say is many ways that he can kill you. You know what I'm saying? So such as leave it shall die. Leave what? What the Lord told us to do. All right. So with that being said, let's get this in 2 Maccabees 2. Because once again, Amare Stoudemire is embarrassed, right? And he's an example of basically being double-minded. He was an example of being weak, you know, exemplifying not really standing on what you're supposed to believe, you know, on this truth in front of the world, you know, in front of our people. Now you want to kind of come and say this and say that, you know, this is who we are, this is who we are. But you thought maybe in your mind, you know, what you was doing made sense. But now he sees that he has died, you know, in a whole nother regard, you know, literally. He ain't, you know, that's why it says the ways of a man are right in his own eyes, but the end thereof are the ways of death. You know, somehow you doing your own thing. You gonna find a way to die. You gonna lead yourself to dying somehow, some way. You know, and that's what he realized, and this is a scary thing, man. This is powerful. This is not just a book. This is 2 Maccabees 6 and verse. I'll start at 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But Mars tried to get him to sell out, partake in filthiness, letting filthiness enter into him, accepting filthiness, right? Standing for or co-signing, you know, filthiness, putting his lips to filthiness. Corrupt, that's the filthy communication, the corrupt communication. Kyrie Irving was right on the regarding who we are and not apologizing for being who we are. It ain't nothing to be sorry about. It's the truth is the truth. We don't have to pity none of these goddamn people. They don't pity us. The scriptures say that. By whom shall I comfort thee? The scriptures say we're destroyed. You know, it says by these two things, Slakia, but the Lord said these nations are gathered together against us, saying, let us be defiled. They can't be defiled, but they say, let us be defiled. Don't acknowledge who you are. That's past. I'm not saying you guys keep, get out of here, man. And they want us to partake in that. They want us to help them say that, accept that. On live TV about our own that say, no, that ain't what's up. That ain't the thing. Even individuals who know the same and agree, it's crazy, And what are you to do? What the Lord told you to do. You don't deal with what's esteemed among men, because that's an abomination in the sight of God. Anti-Semitism, this talk is esteemed amongst men. We're gods, but we die like men. Why? Because we debase ourselves and we try to be like men. We mingled ourselves among these people. But anyway, this is 2 Maccabees 6:19. It says, but he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination. See that? And what is that stain going to? Let me read on though. It says, spitted forth and came of his own accord to the torment. It says, as it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. So he chose rather to die gloriously than to keep this so-called glorious life, this fake plastic life. You know what I'm saying? Like that, Kanye made me think of that Kanye song he got. Kanye lyric he said in his song, let's break out of this fake ass party or this fake plastic life or something like that. And then it's crazy because at the end of that song, it's a loop. I don't know who that is talking, but it's Jake. And he like, who will survive in America? Who will survive in America? Who will survive in America? So, and now look, he put that song out years back, and now look where we are today and what he's saying now. It's all coming home. But the point is, it says, but he choosing rather to die gloriously, because basically I say all that to say this has been glamorized, this fake life, this plastic shit, It's politically correct crap, keeping comfort on the plantation. That's not glory. That's not living gloriously. You know what I'm saying? You glory in knowing the Lord. There's other glories. Different glories. Right? He said he chose to die. It said he chose to die gloriously, rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination. And what's that stain? Sirach 41. And let's start at verse 5. It says, the children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. See? So these people that try to know the workings of Esau, you got to know what, you got to be able to pull strings. You got to have connections. You got to know how the game go. The politics as usual, that crap. You're about people that understand or that's conversant. That means you're conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. You're abominable. You're abominable. You're abominable as well, is what this is saying. This is Sirach 41:5. The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. You know how to make things work and how to move around and get around where everything is at, what strings to pull, who to go to, what I'm saying? You got the connections and, the Masonic gestures and all this other crap, man, these fraternities and all of this. you know, inside, Esau's dwelling, you know. You're abominable. You put the suit on, you mar your beard. What happened to Amare Stoudemire? It says the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish. You need to find, and I'll give you this. You need to, at least you turn back to, you came back and said something, and then ultimately from the beginning, you acknowledge the fact we the Hebrew Israelites, you was raised like that. You said, but you need to find another, because see, we're supposed to, y'all got to realize like how we supposed to deal as the Hebrew Israelites is laid out in the scriptures. It's not in other books. It's not the Talmud. It's not in the political, traditions of men and how, it ain't with all. It's not that, man. It's laid out to us plainly in the Old Testament, Apocrypha, and the New Testament. And in it, it tells you got to go to the prophets. The men of the Lord are the administrators of our nation. You got kings amongst our people. What's these men of the Lord? They're going to go on and be. But you got regular people, right? You got aides. You got different. You could be of a different office, in Israel. But so I say all that to say, like, you probably cut your beard because you like, man, I got to take care of my family. It's not that I'm on my beard because I'm trying to break the law, But see, that's why I say all of this. If you was actually in it how you supposed to be in it, you got to come to us. We're the ones that's really set up. We could tell you what's going on. We could tell you if it's going off or not. Us men on these highways and hedges, on these highways and byways across the four corners of the earth, teaching that so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians are the Hebrew Israelites with the correct doctrine that are diligent. That's who you need to be giving, doing business with, sitting down, counseling with, not anything else, not anyone else, not those so-called Jewish people that got the land over there and that allow you back in if you just pull the right strings. None of that crap, man. You're going to lose your life to gain your life. You got to. So you might, you got a certain lifestyle you got to afford, but you got to make sacrifices in this truth. Find another job. It might not, another gig to where you got a good payout because you probably can't go certain places. But says, who are you? Who are we? You hope you make it. You're supposed to be an unprofitable servant. Go somewhere else. Live more frugal. He that findeth his life shall lose it. You gotta lose it. You ain't willing to lose it all the way, obviously. You gotta come down, man. So that was probably right in your own eyes. I'm gonna shave my beard. I ain't really shaving it. It's just I need to feed nah, man. Don't do that. You need to repent completely. You need to come into the truth of Yahweh Ba'ashmiah Shah, man, for real. Not these damn so-called whatever you call the Most High. Because we know you're not calling him Yahweh Ba'ashmiah Shah. Because you will be under a whole nother frequency. You will have a backbone. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't to say everybody that's under Yahweh Ba'ashmiah Shah have one, but they're taught to have one. You know what I'm saying? And that would be completely turning on the Yahweh Ba'ashmiah on the thing. If you really in, but you don't, man. Anyway, let me just read on, because what is disdained rank? What is disdained abomination, right? Which is going into what? Other ways you can die. The many ways the Heavenly Father can kill you, which is due to you leaving what he told you to do. Ultimately to prove that you do die by doing that. And that, a man's ways in his heart is right, because you could lead the law for whatever reason. Only to prove that and thereof are the ways of death. And what's one of them? Having a stain abomination on you. What's that? Well, let's show it. Sirach 41 and verse 6. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. Right? And what does posterity mean?
Posterity.
All future generations of people, descendants of a person, right? Your heirs, right? It says the successors, as synonyms, offspring, children, all of these different things. So everybody that come after you, right? So the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. See? So let's read on. It says, I'm going to jump to the point, verse 12. Have regard to thy name. This is how this happens, because your name becomes stained. And your children who come of you and have your name, they carry that on. Right? That's put on them. A lot of people have fell victim to this. So there's many ways you can die. Now your family messed up. This is what you're known for now. I mean, just look, Russell Westbrook, his since this spiritually, not spiritually born, so I should say, and we got to say that, but like y'all in the basketball realm, Russell Westbrook has played subpar in how he used to play, right? People that know basketball or whatever, and now they call him Westbrick, and that reproach is gotten so thick, right? It has carried over, right? It has fallen over onto his family to where they don't even want to come to the games. His family getting heckled, stuff like that, and he hates that they do that because his family got his last name. So if they saying West Brick about him, and they're all Westbrooks, which is a playoff Westbrook, and they're all Westbrooks, they're Westbricks. All because of him playing poorly. Now, how much more for a man that has turned, right, on his heritage at the end of the world when his people waking up and bow the knee to these people? So it wouldn't even matter, like, the fact that you teaching your children who they are and having them raised in the truth, because you shattering all the work you put in, and you make yourself double-minded, and not being real, and you make what is true, appear to be not true or a lie or, not something to take serious, a joke. And all that falls over to your children. See? So this is how your posterity is going to be messed up, man. And this is how your posterity bears a perpetual reproach. So have regard to thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. And this is why he's embarrassed, and this is what he's realizing, which is why he's embarrassed. A good life hath but few days, but a good name endureth forever. So one day you up, one day you on ESPN, they could just cut your contract. And to think to go, and he was a Hebrew Israelite the whole time. You went against the law just to feed your family and you thought that was the right thing to do, but that was the ways of death right there, because one, the Lord told you what to do in that situation. You got to make sacrifices. He that gaineth his life shall lose it. You can't compromise you turning back to who you are, being a royalty that you are. When you royalty, you don't settle, right? But based off our situation, we wouldn't settle. We would not settle in a different sense now, right? We're not going to belittle ourselves. We're not going to blemish our good deeds, things like that, right? Because you can't serve two masters. You can't eat at the cup, drink of the cup of the Lord and the cup of mammon, the devil. You can't do that, man. You gonna have to pick one. For you're gonna end up loving the one, right, and hating the other. Because if you trying to do both, you really hate the Lord. Because He told you not to do that. That's lukewarm. He gonna spew you out, right? So it says, a good life hath but few days, but a good name endureth forever, and that's what you're gonna realize. But it seemed like you can bounce back from this, but we'll see where everything go, because everybody else gonna respond to this, I'm sure. Maybe. Sirach 41:14, my children, keep discipline and peace, for wisdom that is hid and a treasure that is not seen. What profit is in them both? So when you was asked, you was supposed to double down. You supposed to double down. You want the truth to spread. That was your moment right there. Yeah, you might get messed up. Yeah, your children might be persecuted, but rather but you can't. That's dying gloriously right there. You're being persecuted for righteousness' sake. You're being reproached for righteousness' sake. Right? But now you're being reproached for actually being the dirt you was trying to get away from. The dirt ball you was trying to get away from being. See that? So you hid and it's because you hid your wisdom, man. Now you on your personal camera trying to talk to us. Nobody want to hear that shit, bro. It says a man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. You weren't supplanting, like you was bowing the knee. There's a difference between supplanting and bowing the knee. That's why y'all gotta really humble down and come talk to us for free. Y'all trying to make it look like you so sophisticated and educated on knowing who you are, when it's not. It doesn't. Lord, like Paul said, he didn't. We don't deal with man's wisdom. That's man's wisdom, man. You can't be trimming your way. So anyway, a man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. So anyway, so I close this out. We're going longer than I wanted to. This is 2 Maccabees 6 and verse 19. So it says, I'll start back at 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. Exactly, man. So let's go here. This is Sirach 6 and 26 and 4, 26 and 5. It says, there be three things that mine heart feareth, and for the fourth I was so afraid: the slander of a city, the gathering together of an unruly multitude. This is what godly men say, right? And the holy men, it says, and a false accusation. See that? These are things you should be worrying about, which is what? The slander of a city, the gathering together of an unruly multitude, and a false accusation. All these are worse than death. You know what I'm saying? So you would rather pick these you would rather die than to deal with these, is what it's saying. Why? Tobit 3 and 4. It says, going back to Sirach 41 and 12, have regard to thy name, for that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. Exactly, that's what's going to stay with you. Money make itself wings and fly away. But what you known for, it sticks with you, especially when it's something wicked. Like something like this, you won't even be able to make money with anybody. You could turn on them and use what you got, to do business with your own, which we know we curse. But you cutting off all avenues to I mean, you just cutting yourself off, you know what I'm saying? Like in all ways. By you, once again, lean upon your own heart, man. You leaving, departing from the book of the commandments of the Lord, man. You know? Because you got ways in your head that seem right to you, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So you should have thought about that when you sat on that show. You know what I'm saying? You should have thought about the slander of a city. The city being Jake, man. The community. Now you a fraud. Now you know. Then you forced to go back to the devil, and you already know what they gonna do to you. You know, you should already know what they gonna do to you. All right. Once again, Sirach 26:5. There be three things that my heart feared, and for the fourth I was so afraid: the slander of a city, the gathering together of an unruly multitude, and a false accusation. All these are worse than death. You know, Tobit 3:4. Now therefore deal with me as seemeth best unto me, and command my spirit to be. You know what? Let me go here. This is Second Maccabees 14, and I'm gonna start at verse 42. It says, choosing rather to die manfully, right? You can die for the Lord, for the truth. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a lot it just takes the Spirit of the Lord to do that. It takes giving up a lot, you know, so-called. But at least you'll die gloriously than to try to keep it. And then the way you keep it is through your name, your being tarnished. You know, you turning on your people. You turning on the Lord. Right when we waking up, and you Hebrew Israelites out there that's awakening to this, let this be an example unto you, man. You know, choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked. Right, you rather die, because if you turn on Jake, now you cut this way, and then a lot of y'all people left to just stay in Esau's hand, but he's the wicked. It says, choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked, to be abused otherwise than be seemed his noble birth. You know, you will completely find yourself against yourself at that point. You know, you end up bleaching your skin trying to look like one of them damn devils, man, wearing one of them stupid suits. You know, Tobit 3:6. Now therefore deal with me as seemeth best unto thee, and command my spirit to be taken from me, that I may be dissolved and become earth. Right, for it is profitable for me to die rather than to live, because I have heard false reproaches. Right, if we gotta live a lie, ain't no point in me living. If you the truth, you're of the truth, you're a child of light, ain't no point in me being here. You know, no point in me being around. It says, because I have heard false reproaches and have much sorrow, for sitting here just saying who we are, for standing for your people. All they do is say we kill each other. That's all they come tell us. And it be dudes, y'all the reason why they say that shit to us. You killed Kyrie spiritually on some stupid stuff. That's like if we was arguing with them and be like, well, all y'all do is get us to y'all say this about us, and you know, y'all don't stand up for us and whatnot. Y'all turn on us, blah, blah, blah. And then that gives, and what y'all doing, what you doing something like this, now they can come and be like, well, you guys turn on each other all the time. You guys don't stand up for each other all the time. And that's another instance of killing each other, man. Spiritually. You know? But anyway, because I have heard false reproaches and have much sorrow, command therefore that I may now be delivered out of this distress and go into everlasting peace, into the everlasting place. Turn not thy face away from me. Right. So we rather die than be, you know, turned on, to have our, you know, names tarnished, you know, and to live an embarrassed life. You dropped the ball. You had the time to finally tell the devil. Now that knowledge has increased, we're not we not in a state to where we can be destroyed because we have knowledge now. And you dropped the ball on that. You bow the knee to Baal. You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy, bro. So this is Amare Stoudemire, man, celebrating Passover with Amare Stoudemire. Passover, a serious time. It's a solemn assembly. This dude sitting here with a yarmulke on his son's head, dreadlocks, small hat. Trying to be like them, GQ. And now you seeing that it's getting real, and we really the people outside of like some Israeli people acknowledging us. You know what I'm saying? This dude wearing this nigga got the small hat on, man. You still a nigga. You really letting them, and then you'll try to tell us, no, you got to get more educated. Bro, these people are the devil. The land shall be trodden down by the Gentiles. Nothing they doing is scriptural. If a man speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in him. You's a goofy, bro. You a complete goofy right now. These people are devils. Get that through your head, but you gonna learn it. You gonna learn you gotta stick with your own once they completely turn on you, and you can't be doing the right thing if you get on the same network stations that they run and own, and they tell you to condemn your own for claiming who we are. But yet they say they the people, and they doing what the people do. This is not that. You over there in madness. You're over there in madness. That's Yiddish they over there speaking. That's not the Paleo Hebrew. These people are devils. You shaking their hands and all this other crap, man. Come on, man. So with that, call halam la Yahweh Bashum, Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakwadash. Hey, man, let this be an example unto you. You did all of this, and now look, it's being shown that you completely lost, and you still proud, and you ain't came down all the way. You ain't completely humbled yourself. And us men, the little ones that's on these corners, are actually esteemed in the sight of the Lord, according to the scriptures, more than you. You know what I'm saying? You're not considered anything. You consider lost. And going about to establish your own righteousness, man, and has not submitted yourself to the righteousness of the Heavenly Father. None of these people doing over there is scriptural, bro. But you gonna learn to stick with your own now that your name messed up, and you continuously sit in their face and watch them lie to you, and then knowing they can dispose of you, because it's all about influence. And once they see we ain't listening to your ass, they gonna get rid of you. So you gotta stick with your own. It's over with. And once again, this own talk has been sparked off the conversation of our identity, us being the true people. Why? Because we are the true people. We are the true Hebrew Israelites. All this started off of that, and the Lord showing us this and trying to show y'all that. But only the elect gonna get it. Call them like Yahweh Bashmiel Shah Shalom.